Right, guys, we are on lesson eight. Lesson eight, and it's chapter two. It's the last lesson of the day, or not the day, but the of the chapter. Um, anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to do a little bit of the reading and talk to you a little bit about what a proportion is, and then we're going to have to set up some proportions. We're probably going to spend 2 days on this lesson. And that's important that you understand that because this is pretty involved, and we have to set these proportions up correctly. Because if we don't, we're not going to get the correct answer, and we have to show the process, right? So that's more important than the answer, certainly. So anyway, before we go any further, I'd like to, in trying to get situated here, I'd like to get circled up on the homework here and kind of go from there. But so I'm going to kind of jump ahead here to the homework on page 159. And I'm going to have you circle numbers 1 through 5 here. So that's what I'd like for you to do. Okay. And I'll have you flip the page over. Okay. And on this page, we're going to do 10, 11, and 13. So we're going to do 10, 11, and 13. Okay. And then we're going to jump to this page right here. And we're going to do 16 through 25. Okay, so it's actually 17 through 25, right? So this is something that we need to work on together. So anyway, let's get started here. Today we're talking about solving percent problems using proportion. A proportion is nothing more than two equivalent ratios. So if I was to start by um, grabbing a piece of paper and say, hey, 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Two equal ratios are proportional, right? And we can scale this up, and we've learned this through our unit in scaling with unit rates and ratios and rates and so on. But scaling up and scaling down. To scale up, we multiply. To scale down, we divide, and we would end back up to 1/2, right? So that's what a ratio is. Now, what we're going to do is deal with some percent proportions, okay? So when you're talking about a percent proportion, you're talking about the part is on the top, the whole is on the bottom. And it works the same way for a percent. And you're going to see how all this fits together as I walk you through it, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and jump to this page, which is page 158. Okay, and we're going to take our time and go through this. Now, you're going to notice that they have these lines there. I'm not real interested in setting it up that way because I think it's a little bit more confusing than normal. So let's get started. Certainly going to need your calculator um, to get it ready to rock and roll here, okay? All right, so let's get started. Use a double number line? No, we're just going to go. 40 is 20% of a number. Okay, so when I have a problem like this, the first thing I like to start with is my percent. I always like to put my percent on the left. So 20% is 20 out of 100. That's what all percents are, out of 100. 20% out of 100 is the same as 40 is our part, so our part goes on the top, and our whole is what we're looking for. And we're going to call that X, right? So when we call that X, this is what we're looking for. So I ask you, and sometimes they're pretty easy and we can get from here to here, simply mentally by multiplying by 2, you get 40. 100 times 2 is 200. So 20% of 200 is 40, if you think about it that way. Um, there's a couple different other ways to do it, which I'll show you later, but right now, when they're fundamentally that easy, you can go ahead and take a look at it, okay? All right, let's get into number 2. Numbers that don't jive just quite as well, but we need to get going with it. 90 is 25% of some number. Okay, so I like to start with my percent on the left, which is 25%. 25 out of 100 is 25%. Now, 90 again is our part. Our part goes on the top, our whole is on the bottom. On our percent side, this is also our part, and that's our whole. Now, I can't see directly how to get there, so I'm going to grab my calculator. Okay, I'm going to turn it on and we're going to go to work. So I'm going to take 90 and I'm going to divide that by 25. And when I do, I get 3.6. So that tells me 25 times 3.6 will give me 90. And let me check that. 3.6 times 25, and I should get 90, and there it is. So if I multiply the top by 3.6, I'm going to multiply the bottom. When we multiply by a power of 10, we could just move that 2 to the left. So x is going to be 360. If you didn't trust me, it's 100 times 3.6, and there it is. So that's what that equals, and we could circle that there. So our part, 25% of 360 is 90, and that's what it's saying. Part, whole, part, whole. Let's continue on. Okay, 120 is 30% of what number? I take my percent first, I put it on the left. I'm consistent with my message, aren't I? 30 out of 100 is 30%. Okay, 120 is our part, and we're looking for the whole, which is what we'll call x. So to get from 30 to 120, if you weren't sure, you would just grab your calculator and take that and divide it by that, and you'll see that it's 4. So 30 times 4 is that. 100 times 4 is 400, and I'll circle that. Okay? Part, whole, part, whole. Let's continue our path. 60 is 15% of some number. Start with your percent. 15 out of 100 is equals. Hold on, please. You ride bus 9? And sorry about that. They talked about bus 9 again. Anyway, 15 out of 100 is 15%. 60s are part, and we're looking for the whole. So these numbers are fitting nicely together. Let's take a look at it. 60 divided by 15 is 4. Excuse me. 15 times 4 is 60. 100 times 4 is 400. So 15% of 400 is 60. If I were to take this and reduce it down, it would go down to the same as this, or fraction or percent. So these two sides are equal. Number 5. In the first year of ownership, a new car loses 20% of its value. When you lose it, that means if the car costs $100,000, you lost 20%. You lost $20,000 of its value. Crazy, huh? If a car lost $4,200 of value in the first year, how much did the car originally cost? So that's the part. That's what it's lost. We're looking for the whole. 20 over 100. Start with your percent first. This is our part of 4,200, and we're looking for the whole. So how do I get from there to there? I grab my handy dandy calculator. 4,200 divided by 20, and what do we get? 210. So 20 times 210 is that. 100 times 210 is 21. Add those two zeros, 1,000. Okay? So this side is congruent to that, just like clear round. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Stay with me here. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the homework a little bit and do a few problems here because it can get confusing. Excuse me. A lot going on here on this Friday. So let's get into it. And I'm just going to kind of, I'm not going to do those. I've already done those. I'd like to get down into these word problems. So I'm going to do these 4 with you, okay? And if you're at home, I hope this is making sense. 22 is 44% of what number? Be consistent. 44% is 44 out of 100. 22, and we're looking for x, right? So this is an easy one. Divided by 2, divided by 2, x is 50, right? We like them when they're mental, don't we? 450 is 75% of a number. My percent on the left equals 450 is 75% of some number. That's what we're looking for. And this is 450. Numbers are bigger. I'm going to use my calculator. Clear. 450 divided by 75 is 6. So 75 times 6 is that. 100 times 6 is 600. Okay. So 450 is 75% of that. Couple more. Let's go. A store is having a sale where winter clothes are 60% off their original price. Right? A sweater is on sale for $30. What was the original price? Okay, no problem. So 60 out of 100, there's our percent, equals. This is our part. That's the sale price. What was the original? Right? So divided by 2. Divided by 2 again is 50. 50 what? $50. $50. Okay? Let's take a look at one more here, and hopefully this is all making sense, and I do want to spend a couple days, and we'll find the percent tomorrow and so on. But Kai calculates that he spends 15% of a school day in science class. If he spends 75 minutes in science class, how many minutes does Kai spend in school? So it's 15 out of 100 is 75 out of X. 15 times what is 75? Let's go. Oops. Sorry, let's try it this way. 75 divided by 15, I had a little brain cramp there, is 5. 15 times 5, 100 times 5 is 500. All right, minutes, and it's a word problem, so we want to label that minutes. Okay, so that's the idea. We have proportions, 2 equal ratios set up or circled up. As you can see, hopefully you did that with me at the beginning. All right, guys, have a good day.